When Candace Owens said she had come across details of Meghan Markle's past that no one had ever seen, nobody was ready for what she meant. Because these weren't whispers about fashion choices or royal feuds, these were stories buried deep inside her college years, stories sealed under silence, payoffs, and missing records. Sources say the scandal began at Northwestern University, long before the tiaras, long before the palace. It started with a prank inside a sorority that allegedly went horribly wrong. One version of the story claims Meghan switched a tube of eyelash glue with super glue, and one of her sorority sisters ended up in the hospital. Some say she was suspended. Others insist she was expelled. But one thing is certain, after that incident, Meghan vanished from campus completely. For months, no one saw her, no classes, no appearances, nothing. And when she finally resurfaced, her life looked very different. She wasn't talking about exams or grades anymore. She was talking about yachts in the Mediterranean, about foreign men, about a lifestyle no college student could explain. And from that point on, her story began to change. Her identity began to shift. Because when she came back years later, the version of Meghan Markle the world met wasn't the same girl who left Northwestern. She had a new story, a new resume, and according to Candace Owens' investigation, a brand new past. Northwestern University, the same school she claimed to graduate from with a dual degree in theater and international relations, quietly confirmed something shocking. That degree never existed. That dual program she bragged about, impossible to earn, and those graduation photos, not even taken at Northwestern. Candace's investigation didn't uncover a minor oversight. It exposed a pattern, one that started in the classroom and ended in the palace. A story of how one missing semester became the missing truth behind Meghan Markle herself. Because if the scandal that started it all was real, then everything that came after was built on a lie. Word from people who claim to have been around at the time say Meghan's disappearance wasn't just about skipping class, it was about punishment, a prank that spiraled into chaos. According to whispers inside old alumni groups and private gossip circles, the story goes like this. During a sorority event, Meghan allegedly played a prank on one of her sisters, swapping out her eyelash glue for super glue. The result was horrifying. The girl's eyes were sealed shut. She was rushed to the hospital, and what started as a joke turned into a full-blown legal and disciplinary nightmare. One version of the rumor claims the girl temporarily lost her vision. Another says her parents threatened to sue. And then there's the most dramatic account that Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, quietly paid around $200,000 to make the whole thing disappear. What's consistent across every version is the aftermath. Meghan was reportedly suspended, or maybe expelled, and told to stay away from campus until the situation cooled off. For weeks, she was gone. No one saw her in class, at events, or anywhere near Northwestern. When she eventually resurfaced, people whispered that she wasn't supposed to return until the victim had graduated. But by that time, she never did. If that's true, Meghan didn't just miss a semester, she lost her place entirely. And that missing period may be the real reason her degree never existed, because when a student is suspended or expelled, they can't complete a dual program, they can't graduate with honors, and they definitely can't walk the stage wearing colors from a university they're no longer attending. It's a scandal buried so deep that for years, nobody dared question it. But now, as cracks begin to show, it suddenly explains everything. After the sorority incident, Meghan didn't just vanish from campus, she vanished from the timeline. There was no official record of her taking a leave, no university statement, no proof of graduation. And that's strange for someone like Meghan. She documented nearly everything about her life. High school plays, acting auditions, family moments, but nothing about her college graduation. No photos of the ceremony, no classmates tagging her, no cap and gown memories. For someone so careful about image, that absence stands out like a missing puzzle piece. People close to her family claim Thomas Markle quietly stepped in. They say he paid to smooth things over. Not just tuition, but possibly hush money too. He'd always been the quiet fixer in her life, the man who kept her world together while she built a new one. And when the scandal faded from memory, so did that missing semester. From then on, Meghan was ready to reinvent herself. A woman who could say, "I went to Northwestern," without ever finishing the sentence. Because that's the trick, isn't it? She never said she graduated, she only said she went. And from that one half-truth, an entire empire of image began to rise. When Meghan disappeared from campus, most people assumed she'd taken a short break to handle personal issues. But weeks turned into months, and when she finally resurfaced, the stories she told didn't sound like student life at all. She talked about trips across the Mediterranean, elegant dinners on private decks, and encounters with men who lived in an entirely different world, men of wealth, power, and mystery. Sources close to those early social circles claim she became part of the infamous yacht scene, the floating playground where young women mixed with the rich and the elite. Some say it started it as a paid appearance. Others whisper it was networking. Whatever it was, it introduced her to a world few people her age had ever seen. While her classmates were busy cramming for finals, Meghan was learning a completely different kind of lesson. One about charm, image, and influence, how to speak the right way, dress the right way, and appear as the woman every powerful man wanted at his table. It wasn't about books or degrees anymore. It was about becoming a brand. And when she returned to public life, that transformation was complete. She wasn't the girl from Northwestern anymore. She was someone else, smoother, more strategic, and already rehearsing for the role she'd play for the rest of her life. That missing semester wasn't just a punishment, it was a rehearsal. When she eventually reappeared, she had a new story about her academic journey. Polished, perfect, and packed with details that made her look worldly and sophisticated. She supposedly interned at the U.S. Embassy in Argentina, learned Spanish fluently in 5 weeks, and graduated with a dual degree in theater and international relations. But none of it matched the records. Yes, the embassy internship was real, but only for a short time and mostly clerical work. The fluency in Spanish, experts said impossible to achieve in less than 6 weeks behind embassy walls. And then came the graduation photos. When they finally surfaced, something looked off. The robe she wore was the wrong color. Plain black instead of Northwestern's signature purple and black. There were no classmates, no recognizable campus buildings, no proof of any ceremony. Some people quietly suggested the images were staged, taken somewhere else, meant to complete the illusion. Because Meghan understood something most people don't. Once a photo exists, the lie feels real. A single image can rewrite a story, and that's exactly what she did. Years later, those same details, the dual degree, the embassy internship, the language fluency, appeared word for word on Buckingham Palace's official website. Her personal myth had become royal fact. The woman who might never have graduated was now being presented to the world as an academic success story. If Meghan created the story, the palace perfected it. When she married into royalty, her biography was rewritten for the entire world to see. It described her as a graduate of Northwestern University, holding a dual degree in theater and international relations. It even mentioned her embassy work and multilingual background. But the truth? Northwestern confirmed no such dual degree existed, and that meant something unbelievable. The royal family had published fiction as fact. When Buckingham Palace published Meghan Markle's biography, it wasn't a blog or a magazine. It was the official record of the British Crown, the highest level of authority in royal history. Every word is checked, reviewed, and approved before it goes live, which means the monarchy didn't just repeat Meghan's story, they endorsed it. But why? Because to them, image mattered more than accuracy. Meghan wasn't just a new royal. She was a miracle of public relations. An American woman with education, diplomacy, and poise. The perfect modern royal. She represented diversity, intellect, and charm all wrapped into one. And for a monarchy desperate to appear more relatable to the public, she was everything they needed. So instead of questioning her past, they printed it in gold. It's one thing for a celebrity to stretch the truth. It's another for one of the world's most powerful institutions to turn that stretch into scripture. By choosing to protect the myth, the palace became part of it. Part of the illusion Meghan had spent years constructing. And for a while, it worked perfectly. The world believed in Meghan Markle, the polished, educated duchess who broke boundaries. But behind that glamorous image, the cracks were always there. Years after her royal biography was first posted, something quietly changed. Without any announcement, without a single public statement, the palace's website was edited. The section describing her dual degree in international studies disappeared, gone. No correction, no footnote, no apology, just erased. It wasn't a tabloid rumor being deleted. It was the British monarchy's official record being rewritten in silence. Behind palace walls, insiders say there was growing discomfort. Some questioned how easily Meghan's story had been accepted, how no one verified her degree, how the crown itself had become an accessory to a lie. The quiet removal said it all. Because when powerful people get caught in an uncomfortable truth, they don't announce it, they erase it. And that silent edit, that vanished degree, was the palace's way of admitting that everything Candace Owens had hinted at might actually be true. The truth was never loud. It didn't need to be. It hid in plain sight. The royal biography had been corrected not because of rumors, but because of facts. Northwestern University had confirmed through official channels there was no such dual major. It never existed. And that's when everything clicked. The missing semester, the vanishing records, the fake graduation photos, the dual degree that couldn't be earned. The illusion had unraveled piece by piece until all that was left was the one thing Meghan had always relied on: her ability to tell a story so convincingly that everyone else believed it. Every lie needs an audience, and Meghan Markle had one from the very beginning. Her classmates who wondered where she disappeared to, the palace staff who took her words at face value, the millions of fans who believed she was the fairy tale duchess who beat the odds. But when the lights fade and the applause stops, what's left? A missing semester, a questionable degree, a palace that turned fiction into fact, and a woman who turned deception into destiny. The story isn't whether Meghan went to Northwestern. She did. It's about what she built on top of that truth, how she reshaped fragments of reality into a narrative powerful enough to change her life. For years, her version was untouchable. Critics were dismissed. The monarchy endorsed her image. But time always reveals what's real. Now the world isn't seeing the Duchess or the icon. They're seeing the scaffolding behind the myth. Because when the titles and PR fade, what remains is a woman who mastered storytelling. Meghan's true skill wasn't acting. It was control. Control over her image, her truth, her story. And for years, everyone believed it. But illusions always crumble. Not through scandal or noise, but through something simple like a missing record or one email from a university. When the royal website deleted her dual degree, it wasn't just a quiet correction. It was the fall of an entire narrative. Candace Owens didn't invent this story, she revealed it. A tale that began in a classroom and ended in Buckingham Palace. A story of how one missing semester became the missing truth behind Meghan Markle, because in the end, it wasn't tabloids or enemies that cracked the illusion. It was the palace itself. When they erased her degree, they erased the myth. And that's the thing about lies. They can take you far, but never forever. So now, one question lingers. If a lie built an empire, how far can the truth go? How far can the truth go?